Now to our correspondent Pierre Kloschendler, who's joining us from the streets of Tel Aviv, where Pierre, today protests are sort of mixing perhaps the regular Saturday night protests for the hostages, leading to also to protests against the government, and I'm seeing there walking along with the protesters. What does it look like?
Yeah, it's becoming quite chaotic, Jonathan. There are two demonstrations that have united, in a sense, on one of the major thoroughfares in central Tel Aviv. One for the release of 134 hostages held in captivity in Gaza. The other one for the release of the Israelis from this government. That's more or less the slogans that you hear here. Free the hostages and free us from the Netanyahu government. And right now, you see that people are rushing toward the Ayalon Highway in order to block the main thoroughfare that cuts across Tel Aviv, and which has become, I would say, a political tradition for the past year, when demonstrators were punishing the government for the judicial reform that failed. But now they feel reinvigorated simply because the October 7th massacre has provoked a shock in the Israeli society, and they just want this government to go away. Now, the police officers have been submerged, and you can see just here, Itamar Ben Chemo can show you, the protesters are just running, literally running, to bypass the police officers and to block the Ayalon Highway, which is a couple of 100 meters away from where we are, in order to block the highway and to create traffic, because they believe that quiet demonstrations do not work. But when there is some chaos, then the media is talking about it, and then it provokes an echo in the Israeli society. No one is under the illusion that the government is going to be falling, but they hope that in the long term, the message that this government is responsible for all what happened in the past 5 months will be listened and heard loud and clear by the majority of the Israeli public, and that it will put pressure on the government and possibly on the Israeli parliament in order to bring about the fall of the government with a motion of no confidence. Jonathan?
Yes, looking very interesting there, quite chaotic, as you mentioned. Pierre, joining us from the streets of Tel Aviv. Pierre Kloschendler, our correspondent, thank you very much for being with us.